How's it going, guys? Bringer Platoon here, and welcome back to another great set of games in World of Tanks Xbox One Edition. Today I'll be playing the Tier 6 British heavy tank, the Churchill 7, and this thing, this abomination is, it's quite terrible. And this time, I mean it, because in this tank, unlike the PC version of World of Tanks, it doesn't matter which gun you pick. You are stuck with a measly 4 degrees of gun depression. You have a little bit more armor, but not really. There's a spot in between the upper plate and the lower plate, which are ironically both pretty well armored at 150 millimeters approximately each, around there. And then there's a middle plate that's only 57.2 millimeters, but due to its severe angling, you can... like, using your 4 degrees of gun depression, you can't make it auto-bounce all the way. It's pretty weird. But yeah, it's like 135 millimeters thick, but people can pen that with standard rounds in the tiers that you're going to be in, unfortunately, so that's cool. Unless they're in a American medium or heavy. But any tier above that, tier 7s and tier 8s can easily load premium or even standard rounds to shoot into your turret. Your very flat and poorly armored turret in that tier. And again, the problems with this tank are the same with the tier 5, and that is that people can also overmatch your the roof of your turret because of the weird kind of no angle that they give you, because it's 20 millimeters thick, and that goes for both the chassis roof and the ass end roof of your tank as well. The chassis and the turret roof is what I'm saying. And it's slow. It's slower than the tier 5, okay? You got a very respectable, 28 kilometers an hour or something like that for the tier 5. Let me just be a little stingy. Top speed, sorry, 20, I'm going to round up a little bit, 26 kilometers an hour for the tier 5. You get a measly 20 kilometers an hour top speed for this thing. And the tier 7, which is the Black Prince. So that's ass. I have premium loaded a buttload on this tank because 148 pen is not great when you're shooting long distances and you're forced to face tier 7s and tier 8s in this thing. When you're so slow, your track traverse is ass, your tank traverse is ass. There's not a lot you can do to prevent damage being done to yourself unless you can side scrape off of a indestructible building or something like that. Because this thing, again, you can't hide it because of your terrible 4 degrees of gun depression. You can spot a little bit farther now with a whole whopping 360 meters view range. I think it's 370 on the console version, but that's still not that much of an increase. The gun, the top package is going to be the one you want this time around, just because the gun depression doesn't improve and you need all the pen you can get because you're moving up a tier. The top gun is a 77 millimeter gun. You deal 140 damage per penetration, 148 pen for the AP rounds, 208 premium pen for the, it's 202 premium pen for the APCR rounds on the console version. And then the high explosives don't matter because you should not be firing them. Your aim time is 2.3 seconds. Your dispersion values are 0.36. Doesn't feel that way. Your dispersion values are ass. And as you can see, with the very slightest bump that I hit in the road or little angle, I can't aim down at people. So if they're face-hugging you, there's a very good chance you can only shoot at their turret. It's so fucking annoying. It's obnoxiously annoying. I don't know why they still have this tank in the game, because that's just how terrible the tank is. It's so bad. It's so bad. But it's in the game, you gotta deal with it. And not only can you not aim down at people, you also can't aim up at people. If they're on like a hill above you, there's a very good chance you can't aim up at them and they can just dick on your roof of your tank with no problem at all, because once again, it is 20 millimeters thick. The two games I'm showing you today are very unrealistic expectations to do in this tank every single game. You will struggle to get the I 3-marked the entire British heavy line standard tech tree line. So it's it's hard as hell to get good games in this thing. What do you need for the mark? I'm looking at that now. I was stalling, if I'm completely honest. You need 12, let's just go for 1,250 damage per game, on average, in this thing, to get 3 marks of excellence. And that doesn't sound like a lot of damage, but when you're in a tier 7, a tier 8, or even in your own tier games, people load premium against you, they have no problem, they have more DPM, they have better mobility, they have more alpha. It just sucks. You have to fight yourself, fight your own tank first to get to the battle. And when you get to the battle, you have to be sure to just keep your gun hot. Try not to trade damage if you can, because again, PC's HP is better than consoles. PC's version of this tank gets 1080 health, and console only gets 960. Also on PC, what I was trying to mention earlier, if you pick the other gun that you get on the tier 5, the one that makes this thing amazeballs, you actually gain 12.5 degrees of gun depression for the tank. That's like Kronvan levels of awesome right there. Although, for the only thing that you get when you switch to that gun on console is, again, you have to deal with 4 degrees of gun depression, and you lose the turret armor, which is fucking baffling. Like, at least give people a chance to do damage. Like, Christ. Like, I get that 165 pen is not a lot to use when you're facing tier 7 and tier 8 vehicles, but at least give us the option of getting more gun depression. It's fucking ridiculous. The tier 5 gets it, the tier 6 should also. I don't understand why I don't show the end game stats there for everyone else, but it doesn't really matter because reasons. I'm also done with this tank. I've 3-marked this tank as well, and I will show you the mark at the end of this game you're currently seeing. And what game is that? It's going to be on Arctic Region. Oh, I do terrible things to 2 OIs in this game. With 202 pen, oh, it's more than enough to go through them reliably, as long as RNG doesn't fuck you, and neither does your dispersion values. But yeah, why in the flying fuck are we stuck using a gun on tier 6 that only gives us 4 degrees of gun depression? And then, I don't understand. 12.5 degrees of gun depression for the side, like, over the left and right sides of the tank. Obviously, it's not going to be all the way around, but, like, imagine being over a hill and having 12.5 degrees of gun depression. It's insane! Yes, your pen would falter against higher tiered targets. 165 pen, let's face it, isn't going to go through a tier 7 or tier 8 reliably, frontally. But at least you have the option for the DPM, right? Like, you track them, you go around them, you fucking obliterate their HP pool, and yeah, it would help a lot in your own tier games to get that damage up as much as fucking possible before you get screwed over. Like, that's a probably good shot to resemble what RNG can do for you when it favors you. But yeah, I'm barely facing down, and I can't even aim at that Wolverine. That's how bad the gun elevation is. Like, I can barely aim up at that hill. Oh, it's so infuriating. This is the worst tank I've ever played, and that includes the tier 8 heavy French tank. Oh my god. It's just horrible. At least that thing has a gun. Yeah, it sucks, but at least you can deal alpha with it. It just... oh. It sucks ass. I take that back. At least this thing's kind of good in its own tier. The tier 7, or tier 8 French heavy tank is ass even in its own tier. But, like, this tank is so bad. It needs a speed buff of some sort. Maybe not even that. Just give it more gun depression, or give us the option of having the faster firing gun with the gun depression on the left and right sides of the tank. That's all you need to make this tank usable to other people. I don't know what this fucking medium tank is doing. Also, I kind of tunnel vision here. I'm wondering why he's turning around and shooting at me. He's shooting at the tank that was behind me, and I'm just noticing he's there now, and I ignore it. But yeah, I was totally tunnel visioning. I don't know why. the M4 wasn't shooting at me instead of the Jumbo or whatever the tank that is. Thunderbolt, maybe? Yep, it's a Thunderbolt. Cool. But, there's just nothing I can say about this tank that's good other than the premium pen, but that counts for very little when you can't, one, get into the action, and two, deal decent damage over time. It's just frustrating. Like, the Churchill 3 has better damage, better DPM than this thing because it fires faster, even though its alpha shots are a lot less. Maybe I should look at that before I start talking like I know what I'm fucking talking about. Okay, fine. Full list. Heavies, USSR, Churchill 3, yup. The, wait, 2053 is a DPM for the Tier 5 Churchill 3. Let's go for that. Not USSR anymore. Oh wow, they actually have around the same DPM. But that's very odd actually. Oh well, doesn't matter. Very irrelevant to this conversation. But yeah, like, it's just such a boring tank, and I don't know why I felt the need to 3-mark it other than to prove to myself that I could. But I definitely don't need premium for the tanks that I'm shooting at, besides the super heavy Japanese Tier 6 tank, the OI. But to go through a T1 heavy, I don't need it. Or an M6. I'm getting just fucking railed on. People are bouncing me because my armor's halfway decent in the front. But, yeah, very lucky I didn't die there, facing 3 tanks at once. And then my tank destroyers finally finish off that Jumbo, I do believe. Wait for it. Do I get the kill shot? Nope, he's not going to give me the chance. And, nope, okay. T-78 finished him off. Good for him. But, yeah, both of these games are very unrealistic. You're looking at maybe 1,500 in a good game with this thing. But enough about me bitching about the tank. There's a 3-marked Churchill 1 with the the super DPM gun. Here's a Churchill 7, the tank that you just saw gameplay of, 3-marked. And I'm just gonna go ahead and show you all the tanks of the line that I 3-marked, because why the fuck not? Black Prince, same problem, too fucking slow, but at least you get good turret armor, and I mean very good turret armor. Carnarvon, one of the greatest Tier 8 heavy tanks I've ever played. Eradicator Carnarvon, just as good. Autoloader is amazing, and it's the Carnarvon, you can't go wrong. Conqueror, it's fucking easy mode, get hull down, no problem. Chieftain, also very DPM oriented. Front upper hull is ass, and it also has a weak mantlet in the top of it, which is weird. Super Conqueror, also easy mode, just an upgraded DPM regular Conqueror. FV215B, decent at side scraping, but it's still a 7 out of 10 from me. And there's the T95 FV201 Valor, aka the other Chieftain. Yeah. So, hope you guys enjoyed the gameplays and all my 3-marked British heavy tanks. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time.